Hey Heidi, how's it going? Welcome.
Hello. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, nice to see you as well. How's
I'm fine.
life?
I'm fine. I woke up too early, so I'm a little sleepy.
How many hours of sleep did you get?
I woke up at 4:30. It means 5:30 hours before.
Oh wow. That's
No, 6:30.
uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah. It's
That's
already past
really
6:30. Up.
that's really early.
Yes. So I'm a little sleepy. I went to the coffee shop. I got back here.
Uh-huh.
Just just arrived.
Nice, nice. Welcome just on time, right?
Hmm.
Awesome. Hey Claudio, how's it going? Todo beleza, professor?
Oh, professor, are you okay? How are
I'm doing
you?
good. I'm doing good, thanks.
Eu vou bem também.
Muito bem, muito bem.
And how about your Portuguese studies?
It's still very weak. I didn't start studying really, but I was watching two channels actually, Claudio, recently. Um, Portados Fundos
Oh, yeah, it's really funny.
and Parafernalia.
Yes, I have been preferring Porta dos Fundos, but Parafernalia is good too. It's a good channel.
Yeah,
Do
Parafernalia.
both.
They have some amazing stuff. I mean, Portados Fundos actually has English subtitles for a lot of their videos. So I really like that because, you can easily you can easily understand. But Parafernalia, they don't have English subtitles for their videos.
Oh. They
Yeah,
don't have, but the Portuguese of paraphernalias have been using is a little bit easier. I don't know, in my opinion. Of course, but likes easier than Porta dos Fundos because Porta dos Fundos and they talking about a lot of specific things and the dialogue is very fast. It's quickly.
it is. It is. Even when they translate, I was listening to Parafernalia and I can understand most of the information. Like if they speak slowly, I can understand the main idea because if I can isolate the verbs, if I can think, okay, they're saying verbs like fala is, speak, or different verbs like that, I can understand most of the situation.
Oh,
But
nice.
yeah, but with Portados Fundos, even when they're using um, a lot of colloquial, a lot of slang, I think also.
It looks like to me really great to see and to know the people, any person, any English American person who would like to know Portuguese because Portuguese is a little language, so I became a little bit proud. And if you need to help to learn our language, you can count with me. Count. You can
Count on me. Uh-huh.
count on me.
Muito
Yeah.
obrigado, professor. Muito obrigado.
Oh, valeu, professor.
Marcelo, professor, tudo beleza?
Tudo beleza, professor? Como vai as coisas?
I have these two crazy guys, Heidi. I'm sorry, these two crazy guys, Marcelo and Claudio. They're so funny.
Você só tem aluno brasileiro, né, Titi?
Uh,
Do you have
so
only Brazilian students here in your class?
maybe it seems like it's just Heidi and you guys so far.
Ah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
Japanese, yeah.
yeah. So it's nice. It's nice. No, I definitely want to learn. I think I've decided that I'm going to learn Portuguese, but maybe not immediately. Maybe within the next few months I'll get started. How would you guys recommend I do that? Would you guys say starting with basic book or movies, or what's the best way do you guys think I should start?
Everything. You have to hit the books a lot, you know.
Yeah, hitting the books I
Do,
think is very important.
do you know anything about Spanish?
Yeah, I do speak Spanish. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so I will send you a link to a great teacher who teach me, a great online teacher by
Uh-huh.
YouTube who teach me my first steps in May of this year's about English.
Uh-huh.
And he is a great Spanish teacher who teach Russian, English, French,
Wow.
Spanish, Portuguese. Oh, I will catch and I will put in the chat box in a
Sure,
few
absolutely.
seconds.
No, that would be great. No, there's a lot of great things going on. Some of these professors and these teachers online are doing a lot of great work. Um, because they can. I think the internet has made it a lot easier for them. So awesome, guys, awesome. I'm gonna just wait a couple more minutes. Before we get started, though, just wanted to give you guys a quick description of what we're gonna talk about today. So today the class is adjectives. So you guys have all done a lot of practice with adjectives. We talk about adjectives in our normal conversation, um, and it's something that I think is very beneficial to people. When we learn about adjectives, we get a good understanding of how to use descriptions, how to make sentences more colorful, how to give more, paint a better picture for our audience, right? We want to be able to speak in a way that will enable us to be as fluent as possible, right? And adjectives are a big part of how we make our conversation more fluent. So we'll look at that in the first part. And then in the second part of the conversation, we will be looking at an article. And today's article is interesting because sometimes we've talked about China and the United States and China and the world, the relationship between the people of China and the rest of the world. And today we are going to learn that Chinese students are already catching up to the United States. China as a country, I should say, is catching up to the United States in terms of science and mathematics, in terms of funding science and mathematics. So the United States always thinks it has, the upper hand when it comes to any kind of funding. We like to think of ourselves as being, oh, the most rich country. We are always doing the most funding, the most research, right? But China, according to our article, is catching up. So it's something that at least people in the United States are a little bit concerned about, right? So we'll take a look at that. And just on time, we see, hey, how's it going, Roger?
Hello, teacher.
Welcome to class. How's it going?
Thanks. I am good. And
Awesome.
you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Roger, do I pronounce
Okay.
your name Roger or do I pronounce it a different way?
Here in Brazil, you say Roger.
Roger. Okay, sure. I'll say Roger then. No problems. Yesterday, there was a student from Brazil. Her name was Rafaela. And
Rafaela.
I was saying Rafaela at the
Great.
beginning.
Yeah,
So, hey,
that's great.
Roger, we have two other Brazilians in this class. So,
True.
two other
Oh,
Brazilian
great.
folks, yeah. Have you met them yet? Have you met these guys before? Claudio and
Yes,
Marcelo?
I
Nice to meet
think
you, Roger.
nice to meet you too. I think Claudio. I saw in other class, but I've never talked with him.
Oh, well, you guys should
Oh,
introduce
okay.
yourselves.
Oh, okay. How
Hello,
are you, Roger?
I am fine, and you?
I live in Rio de Janeiro. I
Oh,
remember you in another class,
okay.
but
I
we not talk with each other. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
Awesome.
Nice to
Well,
see
Welcome.
you. Nice to see you again.
oh,
Where from,
thanks.
Roger?
Nice to see you too. I
yeah.
am from.
Where do you
I
live,
live
sorry?
in. I live in Americana, São Paulo.
Ah, okay, I've heard.
I know Americana. I have a sister who lives in Americana in these days.
Oh, great.
That's awesome. You guys are all neighbors of each other. And have you met Heidi before, Roger?
Yes, I saw too in another class, I think,
Uh-huh.
many times, but I've never talked with her.
You guys want to say hi right now?
Hi, Heidi. Heidi.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Fine,
I
thank
think.
you. But I,
Fantastic.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't believe you. I don't remember you. I'm sorry.
no.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
That's fine. Heidi, you're in a lot of classes. Maybe he was in one of them. So awesome, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So we're talking today, Roger, we're going to be talking about adjectives, right? So adjectives, they really are important in English because they allow us to describe nouns and describe words. In the second part of the class, we're going to look at China and the rising amount of science and technology that they're doing. So they're spending a lot of money on their science and there are a lot of money on their engineering and stuff like that. So those are interesting to see, right? In addition to that, guys, I wanted to start by asking you guys a question. I want you guys to use some adjectives to describe things that are around you right now. So I can definitely tell, for example, Roger, you are sitting on a red sofa, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I want you to say things like that, things around you, I want you to describe using adjectives. So let's start with Claudio, actually, on the left, please.
In this moment, I am in a quiet place.
Fantastic. In this moment, I am in a quiet place. Fantastic. And Heidi, what about you?
Today it's very beautiful weather.
Today we have very beautiful weather, right? Fantastic. What kind of weather is it like, Heidi, right now? Is it warm? Is it a little bit cooler?
Temperature is not cold, not hot, and blue sky, no cloud, very comfortable. Dry,
Fantastic.
no typhoon.
That's awesome. No typhoon, right? Fantastic. All right. Marcelo, what about you?
I have a big bed waiting for me.
You have a big bed waiting for you?
Yeah.
Do you want to hit the sack?
Yeah. I'm so
Maybe.
asleep today.
Yeah, you should wait a couple more hours and then you can hit the sack, right?
I've just got it. I've just got it home. I was working.
Oh yeah, I know. You guys are busy. And Roger, what about you? One other example of a sentence with an adjective.
I am watching an interesting class.
Fantastic. I am watching an interesting class right now. Okay, great, great, great. Heidi, just a quick question. There's an article that you pasted here. What's that about?
Woman, she's wife of ex-footballer. She
Mhm.
found outside her bag, now backpack. Inside the backpack, she found his husband's head.
Oh wow, that's
Her
ridiculous.
husband's head, yeah.
Wow, that's very, very, very.
Yeah, surprise.
Yeah, maybe you guys who might know the situation, Roger, Marcelo, and Claudio, about this player, uh, Rodrigo Silva Santos. Have you guys heard the news? They found his body they found his head cut off, and they dropped it off at his wife's house. That player, they just
In front of the door.
yeah, he was killed, and they left his head in front of his wife's
Well,
door.
I don't know anything about this
Oh
case.
wow.
Well,
Yeah,
it happens today.
Yeah, just I received.
yeah, I think it's very
Where
recent,
did you
guys.
see it?
CNN here
Where
in the
did you
link
see
in
it?
the window. Claudio, you can find it there also.
Oh yes, yes, yes. I saw now. I just yes. He was an old player. He played in a great Brazilian team. I don't know if a great Brazilian team, but
Bangu, right?
yes, Bangu, Bangu is not a great team. It's a small Brazilian team,
Uh-huh.
and this man was in a dangerous place in a dangerous neighborhood.
In a favela?
He not a specific favela, not
Uh-huh.
a favela, but a dangerous neighborhood, and you know Rio de Janeiro sometimes is a very good neighborhood to walk night, and we have a lot of urban violence,
Hmm.
and unfortunately, this man was killed to and I don't know if I don't know what say about it. It's very sad. I'm
It's
sad
very sad.
about it.
Yeah,
I'm knowing it now in this moment,
yeah.
and very sad, really sad.
Hmm. Yeah, hopefully his family finds patience in dealing with all this, and hopefully they can find who did it, right? I mean, that would be important also. So, Heidi, thanks for sharing. Let's get started then with the lesson. So, guys, what do we use adjectives for, right? Adjectives, very basically in English, we use adjectives to describe nouns, right?
Hmm.
So, for example, I can say we can use the verb to be, right? We can use the am, is, are verb, right? I am, uh, I I have black eyes, or I have brown eyes, I have black hair, right? We can use the verb have. We can say I am short, I am tall, right? All those kinds of things. Using the verb to be, right? Using the verb to be, using I am, he is, she is, whatever, we can come up with different ideas of adjectives to describe ourselves. We can use other verbs as well, right? Um, for example, she has black hair, right? I have a red car, right? All of these sentences are using adjectives to describe nouns. So one of the constructions I just want to write down very briefly for us here is the construction using the verb to be, right? Which is simply the verb for, is, am, are, that verb, and then the adjective, right? So I think we don't need to go over that because I think you guys will know how to use that in our discussion in a few minutes. So we have the verb to be, right? We can say they are happy. Marcelo is very smart. Uh, you know, all those kinds of things that we like to say, right? And we can also talk about things that we've done with other verbs, right? So we have the verb to be, and then we can have other verbs that also do the same thing. So, for example, uh, yeah, no, you're welcome, Marcelo. So, for example, subject and a verb and an adjective, right? So, I have a red car. We are using the verb have, right? She she reads science. She only reads um, scientific books, right? She only reads scientific books. Scientific is the adjective describing books, and we're using the verb read, right? He only drinks red wine, right? He only drinks red wine, or my mother drinks orange juice, right? Uh, my mother drinks pure orange juice. Let's say something like that, right? Pure is describing orange juice, right? So can we come up with an example, guys, using either of these constructions, either the subject plus the verb to be, I am, he is, we are, she is, whatever, or just any other verb? Can we come up with a sentence? Let's start with Hajar on the right.
Mm,
Any sentence you want, any verb using any
my
adjective. Yeah.
okay. My my father. Mm, oh, I don't know. Mm,
What's the verb that you want to use?
I oh Oh, I don't know. Mm,
Do you want to say, like, which verb do you have in mind? Is it the verb is, like my father is something, my father has
ah,
something, or nothing like that?
my father is sleeping. Mm,
Well, that would be just
plus,
uh-huh.
plus. I don't know. I mean, a jack should say.
You can say,
Well,
why don't you just describe your father? Is he tall? Is he short? Is he
uh, he's short. No, short. Middle.
so he's in so my father is of medium height. You can say that, right? Or
Medium height.
yeah, my father is of medium height. My father is of medium height, right? So here, the adjective that we're looking at is medium, right? Medium is describing height, right? So
Okay.
height is the noun, how tall is somebody? Oh, he's of medium height, right? He's not tall, he's not short, right?
Okay.
You can say it that way, right? So he's neither tall nor short, right? That's one example. So yeah, thanks for that, Hodger. We're going to be coming back, so you'll get more chances to try.
Okay.
Yeah, no worries. Marcelo, can you give us another sentence using any verb and any adjective?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Brasilia is a hot place in the summer with a dry air. On the other hand, you are going to enjoy the beautiful buildings here.
Uh-huh. Fantastic, right? Brasilia is a hot city in the summer with dry weather, but on the other hand, you are going to really enjoy the buildings here, or really like the buildings here, right? The beautiful buildings
Enjoy the
here.
beautiful building here. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic, right? So you had a number of adjectives there. Beautiful, describing buildings, right? You said Brasilia is very hot, so hot describing the weather there, and also with dry air, right? So you used three different adjectives, all of which were correct, right? Great job, Marcelo. Heidi, another sentence, please.
She has become beautiful.
She had become beautiful, right? So that means before she became beautiful, she was
So.
She was so-so, okay. She was just normal, right? She wasn't extremely beautiful, or she wasn't beautiful, she wasn't ugly. She was just normal, right? And Claudia, what about you?
She had he had younger before that job.
He had younger before the job. Um, do you want to say that he looked younger? Did
He
he?
looked younger. Yes, yes, he looked younger.
Uh-huh. He looked younger before he started his job, right?
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, so that works, right? He looked younger before he started his job. So we were saying younger is describing his looks, right? In this case, is it really an adjective? It is. It's an adjective, but it's not
I,
describing him. Uh-huh.
maybe I need to say he had been younger before he started these jobs.
Yeah, sure. Fantastic. That works too, right? He had been younger before he started this job. Or I guess the idea of that is that you're saying that he wasn't as old. He was younger when he started the job, right?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, that one would work also. You can say he had been younger before he started this job, or he was younger when he started this job, right? Either of those would work. He was younger when he started this job. And in this case, we are saying we're using the verb is, right? So the verb to be in the past tense. So he was, and then younger is the adjective, right? So that works.
Okay.
Both of those work in that example. Let me ask you guys some questions. Marcelo, oh, go ahead, Claudio. Yeah,
I have a guess.
sure.
And it's common to say, for instance, I was as a such an anxious man. It's normal. It's
So, for example, you want to say I was.
such as, because I already heard some dialogues using as such. So
As
in a
such.
Friends series, for instance, I heard in a phrase in which Joy said, "I was a such big hand guy." It makes sense.
Yeah, you can say, you can use the word such, right, to talk about, to give some kind of an extra, a little bit of extra um, color or force to something you're saying, right? So I was such a handsome guy before I got married, right?
It's a
Or
kind of slangy.
no, it's actually not slang, honestly. It can be used in very polite conversation and very normal conversation also, but it's an adjective that you're using to, it is an adjective, right? So you do use such as an adjective. It's almost like an amplifier, right? It's almost like you are saying something is something is really like different, or I mean something is much stronger than it is, right? So I was so much stronger, right? People say I was so much stronger, I was so much more beautiful, right? I was such a strong person, right? I was such a beautiful person, or she was such a beautiful woman
It,
before
it,
she had her child. Yeah.
is it totally different to kind of and sort of?
Yes, because I think kind of and sort of are, those are the downtoners, remember? So they actually decrease the meaning of a sound. Such is really an amplifier because you can use such with a positive adjective or a negative adjective, right? He was such a bad student he found before he started to study, right? Or before he focused on school, right? Or people always say, for example, he used to be such a, and then whatever, right? He used to be such a nice person. Now he's very angry all the time, right?
Could I use such in the present tense or future tense too?
Yeah, you can use such in the present tense, future tense, past tense,
Yeah.
anything like that. Yeah.
He will be a such great teacher.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, he will be such a great teacher when he grows up. Maybe, right? Or,
Okay.
for example, a few years ago, people were saying Obama will make such a great president, right? People were
Okay.
talking about the future. Obama will make such a great president, will be such a great president, right? Will be
Is
such a
it a
great.
good construction? Is it a good way? A common construction? Is
I
it a
think
good
so. Absolutely, Claudia.
okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is not slang. It's not anything. We just use it in normal conversation when we like.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good
Okay.
question.
Okay, Fernand. I had a great doubt about it. A great doubt. A great
Yeah,
doubt?
a great doubt about it, right?
Yes, yes.
Doubt, like, how do you guys say it in Portuguese? Do you say dúvida?
Dúvida.
Uh-huh.
Dúvida. Dúvida.
Dúvida, uh-huh. In Spanish we say duda, but so doubt, yeah, great doubt about this. No worries, no worries, Claudia. When you guys have questions, definitely ask. So yeah, such is an adjective, and we can use it in that sense too, right? So,
Tá.
any other questions, guys, about adjectives so far? How we use them?
No.
No other questions? Okay. Just, I wanted to mention one other thing. So when we use adjectives, right, we sometimes we can also use nouns to describe adjectives, right? There are some examples in which nouns can act as adjectives. For example, orange juice, right? Orange is a color, right? In that case, it's an adjective. But when we are talking about orange juice, orange is a noun, right? It's the fruit. So orange juice, we see both of these words are nouns, right? Orange is a noun, it's the fruit. Juice, of course, is the noun also. And orange is describing juice, right? Another word, sports car, right? Sports is a noun, it's not an adjective. But when you put it with sports, when you put sports and car together, sports is now describing car. What kind of car? Sports car. right? People say all kinds of things like family van, right? Family movie, right? All kinds of things, right? And
Blue sky can be.
blue sky.
Blue sky.
Yeah, well, but
Yeah.
in this case though, Roger, blue is a normal adjective, right? Like blue is a color, so
Okay.
blue sky, blue car, right? But blue by itself is not a noun, right? So these examples, the words are nouns, but when they are combined to other nouns, they become adjectives.
Okay.
Yeah. So these words are normally not adjectives, but when they're with other nouns, they act like adjectives, right? So the family van, family movie, all sorts of different things, like milk chocolate, right? Milk chocolate. It's chocolate made from milk, but milk by itself is a noun. Chocolate by itself is a noun. When you put them together, milk describes the chocolate, right? However, if we say, for example, dark chocolate, that's different because dark by itself is an adjective. So it stays an adjective. It's not one of the examples of a noun that becomes an adjective or a noun that acts like an adjective. Right? This is a little bit more complicated. It's not really that important to know, but I want you guys to just keep in mind that sometimes nouns can also act as adjectives. All right? An exciting thing to be done here in Brasilia is to throw rotten eggs in political corrupt. What do you mean by the last part, Marcelo?
Rotting.
No, but
The last part.
in political corrupt, what do you mean by that?
Corruption. Political, they're embezzles money, you know.
Oh, but do you want to throw rotten eggs at the actual
Corrupt
politicians?
politicians, yes.
At the
Yeah.
actual politicians?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. So then you would want to say an exciting thing to do here. To do here is a little bit better than to be done here, Marcelo. An exciting thing to do here in Brasilia is to throw rotten eggs at corrupt politicians. Okay? At
Okay.
corrupt politicians. So, for example, I think, who is a corrupt politician right now in Brazil? Marco Feliciano, maybe.
If I say,
Maybe he's corrupt.
I will spend 1 hour here saying the names.
The reason I know Marco Feliciano is because Porta dos Fundos or Parafernalia did a video of him. Yeah.
Maybe both.
Anyway, I'm just joking, guys. Okay, but yeah, an exciting thing to do here in Brasilia is to throw rotten eggs at corrupt politicians. I think maybe you guys will run out of eggs in Brazil if you do that. Right?
Yeah.
I think here for sure we will run out of many eggs if we do that. Every politician is, or I shouldn't say every, but so many politicians have degrees of corruption. Right?
No, yeah, we have a lot.
Alrighty. Okay, guys. So then let's take a look at our article. Any questions on adjectives so far, guys?
Nope.
No questions? Okay, sweet. Let us take a look at this article.
Farham, I
Yes,
have another question by
Sure.
such, because it's a word which confused myself,
Sure.
confused me. And the difference between such and guy.
Such and guy?
Guy, and you guy, it's a beautiful guy.
Ah, okay. Well,
It's
guy.
such, he is such a beautiful guy. It's a strange construction to my Portuguese heard.
Yeah, guy. I mean, guy can be used for anything, right, Claudio? So guy is just another word for man or person or man, really, right? Or maybe. So you can talk about. I'm sorry, Claudio. Go ahead.
I could use guy to women and things.
No, you don't want to use it for things. You can use it with women, but you need to be, if they're your friends. For example, you were talking to a group of girls and boys, or men and women, you can say, come on, guys, let's do this, guys, right? As a group, it's okay. But if you are talking to a lady, maybe an older woman or somebody who's not your friend, then you shouldn't use guy, right? Because it's a little bit disrespectful. But if you're with your friends, absolutely no problems, right? Come on, guys, let's do this, right?
I
If you're
could
talking,
said
yeah,
I could said you were a strong guy. You were
you were such a strong guy. Yeah, you could use such. You can use with any adjective, really, right? You were such a good guy, or not even you. You can say, for example, he was such a good guy, right? That person was such a good guy. He was such a good guy before he became corrupt. Maybe Marco Feliciano was a very good guy. I don't know. I mean, I'm just using an example, right? So he was such a good guy, Marco Feliciano, before he became a before he became a deputy.
deputado. Yes.
Deputada, yeah, right?
And
So,
Deputado.
finally,
yeah.
I can use such to things to talk about things.
Yeah, why not, right? So, this was such a
It
good
is
lesson.
it's a such great television.
Yeah, absolutely, right? This is such a great television. Absolutely, right? This is such a nice computer, right? This is such a beautiful car. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Thank you for
absolutely. De
I
nada, de
learned a
nada.
lot.
De nada. Obrigado a você, obrigado a você.
Valeu.
All right. So then let's take a look, guys. Let's take a look at this article. So when we see this article, we will find out a little bit more about what China is doing with the United States to catch up to the United States. Where is the link? One sec, guys. Okay. So this article is from the Washington Post, which of course is a very respectful newspaper, especially in the United States, because all the politicians read it. It's the capital city's main newspaper. So if you guys could open up that link, that would be great. I'm also going to screen share here so that we can take a look. Right. So at the beginning it says, the U.S. is still #1 in science, but how long will that last? Lawmakers in Congress haven't been kind to scientific research as of late. Budget pressures and sequestration cuts. Wow, that's a hard word. Sequestration, I think. Sequestration, I don't know. Cuts have put America's R&D spending on pace to shrink in the years ahead, right? So the U.S. Congress is limiting the amount of money that it goes to scientific research, right? On top of that, the recent federal government shutdown wreaked havoc on a variety of clinical studies and other U.S. research endeavors, affecting scientists studying everything from Antarctica's ice sheets to Alzheimer's. Trends like this help explain why some experts think China could soon overtake the United States as the world's leading scientific superpower. After all, the Chinese government has poured staggering means enormous, huge, right? Staggering sums into research, pledging $2 trillion over the next 5 years. By 2020, the country will devote nearly as large a share of its economy to R&D, this is research and development, both public and private, as the US does. So you guys take a look at this. Take a look at this chart, right? South Korea is really, in terms of the percentage of its income or percentage of its economy, it's doing a lot of research, right? Doing a lot of research, a lot of development, a lot of technology. We see the United States is here, this line right here. Australia is also doing a really good amount. United Kingdom is here, right? But China, this line right here, has been getting more and more and more and more the last 5 years or so, right? And these two countries, the United States and China, are rapidly approaching each other, right? And they're, of course, the largest countries. South Korea is a small country, but they spend a lot more money. But these are the two largest countries, and they're approaching the same amount of spending, right? But is China really about to pass the United States in science? Probably not. At least probably not within the next decade, right? So this guy, Gwynne Guilford, talks about, I'm sorry, it's a woman, Gwynne Guilford, she talks about that the Chinese don't seem to be getting nearly as much value as one might think from all of that R&D research and development spending, right? So she makes a few points. Why is China not getting the same value? Number one, R&D spending is at best no more than a crude measure of input. It says nothing about output. So what she's saying here, it doesn't really matter how many billions of dollars you spend on research if it's not resulting in anything, right? You can spend a lot of money, but what is the result of that money, right? For a lot of the Chinese research, we don't see the results yet, right? And we also find out that there are differences in performance, right? So in China, a lot of what they are making is low quality, right? So when you have a patent, the word patent in English is when you design something and you want to copyright that design, right? Let's say, you know, Marcelo, you make the next microchip, right? You become a multi-trillionaire, right? You have more money than you can ever imagine. You would want to patent that technology if you want to make it your own, so nobody can copy it, right? A lot of China's patents are very low quality, right? So even though China is inventing a lot of things and showing that they are making a lot of things, U.S. patents are much higher quality, right? So that's another big reason as to why maybe the numbers don't really matter in this game, right? Another big reason is churning out journals. Churning out means releasing something, right? Churning out journals doesn't always lead to better research, right? So China churns out more scientific papers than anyone but the United States. But here again, the quality is uneven, right? They are writing a lot, they are publishing a lot, they are everywhere, they're in the news. But what they are writing is not that high quality. The Americans are writing a little bit more, but most of the American stuff is very high quality, right? So then, we're just going to jump down to the bottom here. The very last thing it says is, still, despite Congress's best efforts, the United States isn't likely to lose its spot as the leading scientific superpower anytime soon. So this lady starts out saying, oh, maybe China will be able to take over the US. But at the end she says, no, that's not possible. And she talks about China in a little bit of negative terms, right? Calling their patents low quality, calling some of their science low quality, right? What do you guys think about this? Do you guys think that's something that is fair to say, that China is not, maybe China is up there but not really, you know? I think that's what this article is saying. China has reached a point where it can be a threat to the United States, but because their processes are not as polished, as beautiful, as as amazing as maybe some of the American processes are, they're not going to do that well. What do you guys think about that? Let's start with Hodger, actually. Let's start with you, if you don't mind. I can help you out, Hodger. Don't worry. I mean, that's my job. I can help you with any questions you have.
Okay.
For example, Hodger, let me ask you this. What do you think about Chinese products? Do you think Chinese phones, Chinese TVs, Chinese washing machines, are they high quality? Do you see more people in Brazil, young people like you, do they like to buy Chinese products or do they like to buy American products?
I think it's cheaper than other countries because there we have a lot of products that have lower price, okay? But the quality is, I think it's not good because I don't know. I think it's not good.
Maybe because it's cheap, right?
Yeah, it can be. I can see in Portuguese.
That's fine. You can tell me in Portuguese. Tell me in Portuguese. I want to learn Portuguese.
Okay. Porque a mão de obra é mais barato lá, né?
Okay, I know barato means cheap. I don't know the rest of it though.
Hey, Roger.
sabendo.
Roger, your Portuguese has a little accent by Americans, by English. I'm kidding. I'm
I
kidding.
can I
Teacher,
can say
teacher,
portunhol.
Eu disse que seu português tem um
teacher.
acento de inglês. Eu falei que você tem sotaque de americano. Quando você fala português, foi uma brincadeira.
But yeah, so but you know,
Uh,
Just kidding.
He wants to
you
say
are
that
carioca.
they have cheap labor.
cheap labor. Uh-huh. That's
Yeah,
a
they want to say yeah, they are trying to say.
no,
He
fantastic.
was trying to say.
Fantastic. No, I think Roger, that's a big part, right? Why are Chinese products cheaper? Because they have cheaper labor, right? They have these factories where
Yeah.
they can pay people very little money and they can make the same, if they're making 1 million TVs, right? It doesn't cost them as much money as South Korea or the United States to make 1 million TVs because they have a large population and very cheap labor, right? So that's awesome, Marcel. Thanks for helping us out. Cheap labor is a big reason, right?
Yes.
They can
And
spend they can spend a lot less money. Yeah.
I
Go ahead,
think
Roger. Go ahead. Yeah.
and I think a lot of companies buy products there. For example, I think Nike pay for Chinese companies to do your shows,
Hmm.
and because it's cheaper than here or than other country. And
Absolutely.
I think
Absolutely right.
a lot of things are buying China.
Yeah, a lot of people are buying stuff in China are giving China that all of that activity, all those economic opportunities, right? Fantastic. Marcelo, what's your idea on this article? Does it surprise you that China is, number two, but then once again maybe not because their quality is not that high? What do you think about this?
Yeah, I think I agree with Roger when he talked about cheap labor. You
Mm-hmm.
know, with cheap labor, they can sell their stuff cheaper. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, they have the low quality. You know,
They have low quality products. What are some
yeah.
examples of their products that maybe you guys have personal experience with that were low quality? I can tell you, for example, a Chinese, I think it was a TV or a computer monitor for me. It was very cheap, but it didn't last a very long time. I think it only lasted maybe 1 year before I had
I
to
know,
throw it
I
out.
know,
Yeah.
I know some. I've heard some complaints here in Brazil about Chinese cars.
Oh, okay.
You know, they usually to say that for me that is not a good cars, and the car usually don't work very well. You know,
Hmm.
they show some problems, mechanic problems, whatever.
Yeah, so
And
they're not reliable.
tablets that are done there.
Uh-huh.
Uh, their factory there, yeah.
Uh-huh, yeah, the factories that there, yep, that have that, yeah.
So they shows problems here in Brazil too.
Wow, interesting. So the technology really isn't that of that high caliber, right? Claudio, would you agree with these guys about what they're saying about China?
Yes, I agree. We need to look to cheap labor and we need to take care of the children. But in my opinion, we need to think about our labor condition because around the world by the United States, they are advertising the world about the labor condition in China, but I know the media, and maybe you know too, and it is a kind of business war between United States and China. And what I mean is that in Brazil, for instance, we have a great kind of cheap labor, and we have a lot of in our agriculture, in our
Industry, factories, right?
in our industry, but not a specific industry, because it's a kind of agriculture and with corn, creation of corn. I don't know, captive of corn and
Yeah,
production.
growth of corn, right?
Yes, yes.
Uh-huh.
We have a kind of labor who maybe who gain $200 month or $100 month because they need to pay their house, and we have cheap labor around all the world, but in China it is more show up to the world because the China is a great potential, and uh, but yes, I agree with my friends.
Hmm.
We need to be careful about cheap labor,
Hmm.
but we need to look to cheap labor around our world.
Hmm.
If you
Absolutely.
if you walk to New York, for instance, you will see a lot of people selling dogs to. Yes, they they have a lot of money, more money than a lot of Brazilians works.
Oh, of
For
course, of
instance,
course. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think there's a great inequality, right? There's a great inequality of wealth. But when it
Yeah,
comes, I'm sorry, Marcelo, go ahead.
yeah, I think too that they they make money with quantity, not quality. They sell a lot of stuffs,
Yeah,
but they make money with quantity, not quality.
exactly. China is quantity over
Uh,
quality. I think that's a good way to think about it. Yeah. If we say this
Yeah.
phrase a lot in English, quantity over quality. Yeah, Roger, go ahead. I'm sorry.
and I think it isn't good for our economy because we have many people that don't work because sometimes they don't have a place to work because they buy things in other countries like China, and we can they can't work here because they don't have a job or a
Mhm.
place to work,
Yeah.
and
There's
because
no demand for their product.
Brazilians import products.
Yeah, exactly. So there's no demand for those Brazilian products inside Brazil. Brazilian government can buy those same shoes from China and much
Yeah,
cheaper, right?
yeah,
Instead of
and here
having it. Yeah.
and they sell more expensive here because the tax is very higher.
Yeah. I've heard that about Brazil. You guys have some crazy taxes in Brazil.
oh, we
Yeah.
have a car
Uh-huh.
which it is produced inside of Brazil, but in Mexico, and we exported this car to Mexico.
Hmm.
But in Mexico, this car is cheaper than Brazil.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
and
Unbelievable.
here the car a lot of times is basic. You don't have anything, just uh,
Yes,
nothing, nothing.
it's a basic car with a poor motor,
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
which cost 20 20 or 20,
Until
$11,000
Uh-huh.
as a
Has
base
nothing.
car.
Has nothing inside.
Has
Yeah.
just the motor and just the motor and a chair to you drive it.
Yeah, exactly,
yeah.
right? Just the engine and the steering wheel and some chairs, right? And some
yeah.
seats and some seats,
Yeah,
yeah. That
exactly.
is, it's ridiculous. And then, I mean, but there are so many extremely
Yeah.
wealthy people also in Brazil, though. You guys have some very rich people, right? I think there are lots of very rich people
Here
there.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
it's
because
normal.
we are
And
accustomed. We used to live these taxes and this these prices in our lives every day. So I think that most of Brazilians are when I say when the people to acostumados.
Become accustomed. People are accustomed. Yeah.
Yes, people
Right.
were accustomed. People were accustomed
Hmm.
with these taxes. So yes, and we always are unbelievable with this condition, but it's our reality. I don't know because in
yeah.
last months a lot of people's going was going out street to demonstration your unsatisfaction,
Hmm.
but in this moment we have no less conditions. We our country was built to the automotive industry, car industry.
Hmm.
We have no public transportation in our cities. We have an minimal good transportation in São Paulo, for instance. In
yeah.
Rio de Janeiro is a chaotic transportation because they wanted to buy car, to sell car.
Hmm. Yeah, no, thanks for sharing,
Mm,
Claudio. It's very informative. Hodjo, did you want to say something also?
yes. I think here in Brazil, we have uh, a big expensive tax.
Very high
Um,
tax. High
high,
tax.
yes, we have
Uh-huh.
a high tax, and Brazil would be uh, uh, a country of the first. Oh, sorry, I'm
First
nervous.
world. First world
Yes,
country.
first word, yes, because and we are in the. I think Brazil, it's a second word. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Maybe, yeah,
Third word.
people second or third. I
Yeah,
mean,
third, maybe third,
I don't like to say third
because
world because third world is really low. I think
yes,
Brazil is higher than third world.
yes,
One of
Second
but
the
word. Second
bestest.
word.
I could say one
Brazil,
of the bestest.
Uh-huh.
yeah, Brazil has a lot of money, but the
Yeah, I agree.
government,
Brazil endowment, politicians diversing public
yes,
money is leading us. They promise many things, trying to lure us that everything's gonna be okay if you vote in them. Meanwhile, people starving, social inequality going up, problems with healthcare, security system, transportation, education, whatever.
Oh,
We have the
wow.
highest
I,
taxes in the world, and nothing is
that's
shifting, you know?
Wow.
teacher, and I don't know if he is just here in Brazil, United States, the same thing or
I mean, we have high taxes, but we think we have high taxes. I think compared to the rest of the world, our taxes are very appropriate, right? Because I mean, here we don't have free healthcare, but we have, you know, we have good services. If you want to take a bus or take a train, public transportation is not a big problem. I mean, for example, in New York City, Los Angeles, big cities, everybody, a lot of people drive. You can get a very nice car. My car is a basic car, but I bought my car for maybe 7,000 US dollars, and
Oh,
it's very basic. I mean, it's very basic, but it's nice. Like I enjoy it. I drive it, but you know, um, I think it's difficult in Brazil because the here maybe the government is accountable, right? To some degree, the government is accountable. If the people start yelling and screaming and, protests in the street, then sooner or later something happens. Either the bank or the government, somebody says, okay, we will make some changes, right? In Brazil, I don't know. Maybe the changes just are not happening because of maybe the politicians, maybe, and also here I don't think the social inequality is as high. We have a lot of billionaires. We have a lot of very, very, very rich people, but
yeah.
there are also a lot of middle class people, right? A lot of young people, people like me. I'm very poor. I don't have any savings, but there are many there are many of us, many young people, many young poor people. So we're all working hard, we're struggling, and we have hope. I guess maybe that's the difference. We have hope for the future. You know, Brazil, I think maybe the young
Okay.
generation is really suspicious of the future.
Yeah.
We
You
have
know,
hope to the future.
you
We
guys
have hope
do.
to the, in my opinion,
Yeah.
young generation in Brazil
Hmm.
has hope to the future, but they are aware that they need to change the actual political situation in Brazil.
And,
Because
and
if we do not anything, we our problems will be rising up,
Hmm.
and maybe we will be problems. But in this moment, Brazil is passing through a great moment because we we are deciding if we will change our situation or if we will stay in the same situation
Hmm.
and we will hope to our problems growing up more than our public situation.
Hmm.
And it's the great problem.
mm,
But the businessmen are putting a lot of money here,
Hmm.
and to be honest, I have seen a lot of people employed. I am 36 years old, so I was young. I was almost adult in 19s when our inflation was 100% to month.
Hmm.
It was a
Wow.
great problem because it is a very strange situation because uh, we had no gas, we had no food,
Hmm.
and in this moment we have a lot of Brazilians
Yeah.
whose teams are rich, but we need to change the politics. That's
Of
it.
course. Of
Sorry,
course. No, no,
I
no. I
talked
think
a
that's
lot.
mm,
no, no, no. I think that's really valuable. Roger, yeah. If you want to say one last thing, please go ahead. I just need to. We
yeah.
need to switch to another class. That's
Yeah.
why. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Roger.
And but other thing, we have the problem here in Brazil too also is we have a lot of people that don't like study, don't like do anything important for just yourself. And this is wrong for them. For example, I live in Americana. We have a college here. I think two, three, four college. One is public, and I am studying in a public college now. I made the 2 years. I am finishing my college, and when we have, I I will put in Google.
When you graduate?
Vestibular, like you do a test, you don't pay the college.
Applyment to university. Apply to university.
Yes,
Application to
and
university,
yes, and sometimes don't have uh, a lot of people, just a little bit of people doing the test, and because don't like study, don't like do anything, and sometimes just for your life, or your just your life will be poor because don't run.
Yeah, you don't work hard. You don't have
Yes,
a goal, right? No goal.
yes,
Yeah.
and we have a lot of people
People
here
like
in
that, young
Brazil.
people.
Yes,
Yeah.
so
Now, thanks for sharing,
this is
Hajar. I really appreciate those thoughts, guys. I have another class starting right now. You guys are more than welcome to join that class, but I need to jump off to join that class. But it was great to meet you, Hajar. Claudio, always a pleasure.
Okay, see you.
Yeah,
See you.
thank you so
See
much.
you later.
okay.
Yeah, take care, guys.
Yes.
Yeah,
Bye bye. Take care.
bye bye, guys. Take care.
Portuguese studies.
It's still very weak. I didn't start studying really, but I was watching two channels actually, Claudio, recently. Um, Portados Fundos
Oh yeah, it's really funny.
and Parafernalia.
Yes, I have been preferring in Porta dos Fundos, but Parafernalia is good too. It's a good channel.
Yeah,
Do
Parafernalia.
both.
They have some amazing stuff. I mean, Porta dos Fundos actually has English subtitles for a lot of their videos. So I really like that because, you can easily you can easily understand. But Parafernalia, they don't have English subtitles for their videos.
Oh, they
Yeah.
don't have. But the Portuguese of paraphernalias have been using is a little bit easier. I don't know, in my opinion. Of course, but likes easier than Porta dos Fundos because Porta dos Fundos and they talking about a lot of specific things and the dialogue is very fast, it's quickly.
It is, it is. Even when they translate, I was listening to Parafernalia and I can understand most of the information. Like if they speak slowly, I can understand the main idea because if I can isolate the verbs, if I can think, okay, they're saying verbs like fala is, speak, or different verbs like that, I can understand most of the situation.
Oh,
But
nice.
yeah. But with Porta dos Fundos, even when they're using um, a lot of colloquial, a lot of slang, I think also.
uh, of these years about English,
Uh,
and he is a great Spanish teacher who teach Russian, English, French,
wow.
Spanish, Portuguese. Oh, I will catch and I will put in the chat box in a
Sure,
few
absolutely.
seconds.
No, that would be great. I know there's a lot of great things going on. Some of these professors and these teachers online are doing a lot of great work. Um, because they can. I think the internet has made it a lot easier for them. So awesome, guys, awesome. I'm gonna just wait a couple more minutes. Before we get started, though, just wanted to give you guys a quick description of what we're gonna talk about today. So today the class is adjectives. So you guys have all done a lot of practice with adjectives. We talk about adjectives in our normal conversation, um, and it's something that I think is very beneficial to people. When we learn about adjectives, we get a good understanding of how to use descriptions, how to make sentences more colorful, how to give more, paint a better picture for our audience, right? We want to be able to speak in a way that will enable us to be as fluent as possible, right? And adjectives are a big part of how we make our conversation more fluent. So we'll look at that in the first part. And then in the second part of the conversation, we will be looking at an article. And today's article is interesting because sometimes we've talked about China and the United States and China and the world, the relationship between the people of China and the rest of the world. And today we are going to learn that Chinese students are already catching up to the United States. China as a country, I should say, is catching up to the United States in terms of science and mathematics, in terms of funding science and mathematics. So the United States always thinks it has, the upper hand when it comes to. Hey Heidi, how's it going? Welcome.
Hello. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, nice to see you as well. How's
I'm
life?
fine. I'm fine. I woke up too early, so I'm a little sleepy.
How many hours of sleep did you get?
I woke up about 4:30. It means 5:30 hours before.
Oh wow. That's
No, 6:30.
uh-huh.
Yeah. It's
That's
already
really
6:30.
that's really early.
Yes. So I'm a little sleepy. I went to the coffee shop. I got back here.
Uh-huh.
Just arrived.
Nice. Welcome just on time, right?
Mm.
Awesome. Hey, Claudio. How's it going? Todo beleza, professor?
Oh, professor, are you okay? How are you?
I'm doing good, thanks.
Eu vou bem também.
Muito bem.
And how about your? It looks like to me really great to see and to know the people, any person, any English American person who would like to know Portuguese, because Portuguese is a little language, so I became a little bit proud. And if you need to help to learn our language, you can count with me. You can
Count on me. Uh-huh.
count on me.
Muito
Yeah.
obrigado, professor. Muito obrigado.
Oh, valeu, professor.
Marcelo, professor, todo beleza?
Tudo beleza, professor? Como vai as coisas?
I have these two crazy guys, Heidi. I'm sorry, these two crazy guys, Marcelo and Claudio. They're so funny.
Você só tem aluno brasileiro, né, Tio? Do you
So
have only Brazilian students here in your class?
maybe it seems like it's just Heidi and you guys so far. So
Yeah, Japanese, yeah.
yeah. So it's nice. No, I definitely want to learn. I think I've decided that I'm going to learn Portuguese, but maybe not immediately. Maybe within the next few months I'll get started. How would you guys recommend I do that? Would you guys say starting with basic book or movies, or what's the best way do you guys think I should start?
Everything. You have to read the books a lot, you know.
Yeah, hitting the books I think is very important.
Do you know anything about Spanish?
Yeah, I do speak Spanish. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so I will send you a link to a great teacher who teach me, a great online teacher by
Uh-huh.
YouTube who teach me my first steps in May.